Welcome back to the office at Whitetail Ridge, everyone. And I'm telling you something right now, off-grid living is so easy, it's not even funny. You never have to worry about Arctic blasts coming through and freezing all your rainwater tanks. You never have to worry about running out of firewood at inconvenient times. You never have to worry about the wood stove going out unexpectedly and getting cold in the middle of the night, disturbing your sleep. Yeah, I would say it sucks, but it doesn't, because I think oftentimes people get the term easy mixed up with the term rewarding. Yeah, there are easy parts about being out here, but as a whole, there is nothing easy about this, and anyone who tells you otherwise is flat out lying to you. For whatever reason, I don't know. But the only way to make this easy is to go ahead and jump in and start doing it. Now, I'm not saying jump in and, quit your job tomorrow and run out into the woods and start living like I do, because this was a long, drawn-out plan for me. I was a truck driver and started stashing stuff away for once I decided I wanted to go back to doing this. Was actually right before the pandemic, and I started stashing stuff away, and next thing you know, that bit hit right there, and I was kind of happy I had started doing what I was doing. But I planned out for about 3 years in advance where I was going to go and what I was going to do, and here we are now about 6 years later. I've been out here for 3 years. I've been off the road for 1.5 years. And, it's not easy. It gets easier every day, but I wouldn't recommend necessarily anyone just run out to the woods without a plan. Probably the number one thing that you can do to help make living off-grid easier is to have a plan. You don't have to have a well drawn out plan. Obviously, the more detailed that plan is, the easier it is going to be. So I do recommend that, because there are areas that I can say we were in such a hurry to get out here because of the environment that we were in. Living in the town was so toxic to the point where it was almost you were going to fist fight your neighbors because they had zero respect for you or personal spaces. And we grabbed everything we could to make life easier, bought a property, and ran out here with hammocks. And the first almost entire year round through the winter and everything, thank God it was not too cold of a winter, but we were sleeping in hammocks. We were getting hit with torrential downpour in the spring and the summer, and we were loving every minute of it. But we also learned that here comes a not so easy part. There is mud everywhere. It doesn't matter where you go. There is mud everywhere. You're covered from head to toe in the stuff, always being dirty. So, if you consider that easy, go for it. But I would definitely recommend having a plan, because there's nothing easy about doing this, unless, of course, you go and buy a preset homestead or, off-grid property that's all been set up for you. But where's the reward in that? So again, I think that people oftentimes will get the term easy confused with the term reward, where yes, at the end of the day, it's easy because it's rewarding, and that's where I get it from. I wouldn't trade this lifestyle for anything, and I know without a doubt there's going to be something else that happens tomorrow or the next day. Something's going to break, something's going to go wrong, and that's not wishing any ill will on myself or anyone for that matter, but it's just the law. It's going to happen. And if you think there's anything easy about that, again, there isn't. When you're sitting out here and you're providing your own wood, and say that your axe breaks or your chainsaw breaks, what are you going to do then? You better be planned up and prepared ahead and had firewood setting and ready to go. What are you going to do when I said, like, this Arctic blast comes through and literally every single one of our IBC totes is freaking froze solid right now? which, you know, we didn't prepare for that. We knew it was a possibility, but living here in the Ozarks, that possibility, while present, is also still very low. And these are things that people may or may not think about. You know, I knew it was a possibility, but I was also not planning that we were going to get hit this hard, because typically, even if we get below freezing here, it takes quite a while for one of them IBC totes to freeze solid. And when you get into negative double digits for a period of 3 days or more, well, guess what? That plan just went right straight out the window, because it doesn't take long at those temperatures. So the easy factor, again, not so much there. But the reward of catching your own rainwater and using that and not having a water bill is, you know, that is a reward. We are working on a well, and at, you know, hopefully here in the next 2-3 months, we'll actually have that in the ground. But again, that's going to be one of those reward things where we've gone through the harder parts and worked ourselves up and saved the money for that well. And we've gone through and know we can get through times where, what if a pump's not working? What if that goes out and we have to go resort back to doing rainwater? These are just things that people don't think about. So again, we're going to say there's nothing easy about it. You are purely gambling on the idea that you are going to get rewarded at the end of the day. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I guess it depends on how much of a gambler you are, but do not be fooled. There is absolutely nothing easy about living out here and living the way that we do. It's just a lot more rewarding, and not having to deal with the townspeople. I mean, we do go to town. Yeah, we really keep it minimal, like once a month. Typically is what we do. Unfortunately, this month we've had quite a few extra trips because we recently had a newborn baby girl that we weren't expecting this early. She was born at week 30. So we had to go to town. We had to take my wife to the hospital. We had to make sure everything was 100%, because she actually was planning on doing a home birth. But then again, we fall right back into the easy factor. Was that easy? No, it was not easy. We are both pretty well upset that she didn't get to do the home birth, but you know, the reward on that one is that we have a beautiful baby girl now. We just didn't get to do it the way we wanted. And that's typically how it goes when you're living off grid. You never really get anything you want. And it takes a lot of work to actually start achieving those goals. So as far as finding an easy way in, yet again, and I know this sounds repetitive, I'm just trying to hit certain things on the head that most people are not thinking about, and they just want the instant gratification of being out here in the wild or doing whatever it is that they're wanting to do. You know, living off grid may be a different definition for some people, where we look at it and say the definition for us is we don't have any quote unquote public utilities brought in. We make all of our own firewood. We make all of our own power through solar. And yes, we do have internet, but it's satellite internet through Starlink, which, by the way, we do love. And I do have a couple videos on that as well. And, you know, some people would say the internet alone is enough to consider us not on grid. However, we're not tied to anything at any given point in time. No one can pull the plug on anything we have. I mean, unless, of course, a Starlink satellite goes down or we don't pay the bill, but that would be on us. So, you know, the idea of thinking that anything out here is easy is quite honestly a myth and a pipe dream. You know, having a drought wipe out most of your garden. We actually had a decent year this year, but it was a comeback garden that we didn't have a lot of water. And all of a sudden it started raining later in the season, and everything we kept enough water on it to regenerate, and we got a decent amount of stuff toward the end of the year. But it was very scary. And the 2 years prior to that absolutely wiped out because of no rain, and we didn't have a well yet. So we're really struggling to get that. I mean, don't let people fool you into thinking that this is some kind of easy life, because it's not. It's rewarding. That's what you need to understand. So I guess that's my 2 cents right there. You need to take everything as much as possible anyway into account before you go ahead and do something like this. But at the same time, I wouldn't discourage anyone from doing it. I think this is probably the most pure way of living and getting out here and, you know, getting more in touch with nature and living off the land as much as you possibly can. And we're aiming for more of a self-sustaining lifestyle, which is a whole nother topic all on its own. But, you know, hopefully this kind of, you know, opens some doors or some thoughts in your mind to what you could do to make it a little easier in order that way you can have the reward at the end of it. So thank you for watching and stay tuned for more videos. Have an amazing evening, everyone.